Hello, I'm Alma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila and Jakarta, Indonesia. Hello, December.
Hello, Alma. I'm December Paras of EBC Indonesia Bureau, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines.
Good day, they actually leave.
The Tokyo Olympics will be like no other games, with the specter of coronavirus hanging over every part of that event and organizers determined to prevent an outbreak. We were able to talk to the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Philippine Embassy in Japan, Mr. Robespierre L. Bolivar.
Fewer elderly people are being admitted with serious cases of COVID-19 infection, but there is a rising trend among younger people.
A Singaporean expert and professor has defended the Chinese-made Sinovac vaccine, saying that the negative criticism of the vaccine is unfair and biased.
The United States and Vietnam on Monday said they had reached an agreement to resolve a dispute over the value of Hanoi's dong currency, which Washington had briefly accused it of manipulating.
The Tokyo Olympics will be like no other, with the specter of coronavirus hanging over every part of the event. Organizers are determined to prevent an outbreak. And we were able to talk to the Deputy Chief of Mission in the Philippine Embassy in Japan, Mr. Robespierre L. Bolivar. Let's take a look.
Good day po, magandang araw po sa inyo at sa inyong mga viewers. Of course, it's always our pleasure to speak with our partners in the media, especially Net25. So maraming salamat po for this opportunity, Ms. Alma. Okay naman po, the ambassador, our embassy colleagues are doing well, and we're starting our vaccination procedures as well here for embassy personnel. So hopefully in the next month ay fully vaccinated na rin po samahan dito sa embassy.
Sir, nabakunahan na ba kayo? Kumusta na po ang kayo naman po? How are you po?
Medyo kahapon po I received the second dose of the vaccine yesterday. So medyo pinapakiramdaman po, may konting pagkapagod, but we heard that it's normal naman po. But otherwise, we're doing well. Dito po sa Japan, they are using only Pfizer and Moderna. Those are the only two vaccines they have authorized for use in Japan. So, yun po. Ako po personally got the Moderna vaccine.
Sir, with the spread of the Delta variant or possibly other variants, are there noteworthy protocols being taken in this 2021 Olympics?
Yes. They are implementing what they call an Olympic Games bubble, which means that from the time of arrival at the airport all the way to the time that they actually leave Tokyo after their last event, they will be in a protective bubble. Only those who are athletes and the accompanying teams and officials will be allowed inside. And of course, the Olympic officials, IOC and the Tokyo Games officials, they're the only ones who will be allowed inside. No outsiders, no local people. And very strict. They have very strict protocols, and it's understandable because we don't want any incidents to happen. This has been labeled as the recovery games or the Olympic Games post-pandemic. So they want to really make sure that there are no incidents of COVID-19, and they really strictly implement all of these protocols. And as I was mentioning to our colleagues just a while ago when we were chatting, even the embassy personnel are not allowed inside the Olympic bubble. So it's only the athletes, the accompanying officials, and the International Olympic Committee officials that are allowed inside.
What about the media, sir? Are they allowed?
They have specific protocols for media. One of the things that they have implemented, there are two media centers in Tokyo. One is operated by the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic Games. The other one is being operated by the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and they are sharing live feeds, photos, pool coverage for any activities related to the Olympic Games in an attempt to minimize also the number of media representatives inside the games. As was reported in the news in the past couple of weeks, they have also barred domestic spectators from the games. So they really want to minimize even the number of athletes who will be joining the Parade of Nations at the opening of the Olympic Games on Friday. They are going to minimize that. Aside from minimizing the number of people in the stadium, they also don't want, particularly the Philippine team. We've talked to them the other day. They also don't want to expose our athletes to any unnecessary exposures.
Exposure. Yes. And speaking about the Philippine delegation and the Philippine team over there, have you met them, sir? And have you talked to them? How were they po?
We've met the Philippine Olympic Committee officials headed by Chef de Mission, Mr. Araneta po. We've met with them several times virtually. Yung athletes po, some of my colleagues have had the fortune to be at the airport to render assistance if necessary. Although from a distance, as you can imagine, more than 2 meters dapat ang distance. But they were able to at least personally see some of our athletes arrive in Tokyo Saturday, Sunday, and yesterday. Personally, ako po, I have yet to meet any of our athletes, even virtually. And we understand that we don't want to disturb them as they prepare for their competitions.
Mm-hmm. And we go to, I know that Tokyo imposed an emergency there and that will go through the Olympics po. Kumusta po ang kalagayan po ngayon dyan sa Tokyo po?
Yes, ma'am, you're correct po. No? The state of emergency, I think it's the fourth or the fifth state of emergency was implemented by the national government on Tokyo, Osaka, and the surrounding prefectures of Tokyo as well. It will go through until August 22, if I'm not mistaken. So, hagip po yung the Olympic dates, the 2 weeks of the Olympics, will be under a state of emergency here in Tokyo. We've been seeing an increase in the number of cases. Again, unfortunately, over 1,000 cases for the last couple of days. So we hope that with this new state of emergency, with the new restrictions that are in place, hopefully we will see a decline in cases over the next couple of days. Yun naman po mga kababayan po natin, they are doing well. We have, from the start of the pandemic last year, we have registered about less than 500, about a little over 400 cases of COVID-19 amongst the Filipino community in Japan. So far, as far as our information is information available to us right now, all of them have recovered already. At so far, no new cases, thankfully, with the Filipino community in Japan.
I just read in the news that Japan had rushed to vaccinate 1 million people a day ahead of the Olympics, or more than 8% of the population. But we learned that there was also a shortage of doctors and nurses, and under Japanese law, only doctors and nurses are allowed to give legally give injections.
Yes, po. The administration of Prime Minister Suga has announced its goal to vaccinate at least 1 million people a day, or at least give people a shot of the vaccine. 1 million people a day. Yes, they are trying to work around the lack of medical personnel vis-a-vis the number of people that they wish to vaccinate. There have been reports also in the news that on many days they have actually even exceeded the 1 million shots per day. And Prime Minister Suga in a press release the other day mentioned that he is confident that by November or October or November of this year, they would have vaccinated everyone who is willing to get vaccinated in Japan.
Is the vaccination for free, sir?
Yes po. All legal residents of Japan, including the Filipino community, will receive free vaccination. Each municipality is sending out what we call a vaccination coupon to your residential address, and then you have to log on to a website or call a specific hotline to schedule your vaccination. And so far, we have not received any reports of any problems from our Filipino community. It seems like the vaccination is proceeding apace with our Filipino community.
Was the distribution of vaccines, sir, concentrated in Tokyo, Maine?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Tokyo, Osaka, and the major cities. But particularly Tokyo because of the Olympic Games. Although they have also begun, and some prefectures outside of Tokyo have even, I think, finished their vaccination, the smaller prefectures with the smaller population.
What about the vaccination of our Filipino community there? How is it po, sir?
So far po, we have, I think, they have received their vaccination coupons from their local municipalities and are now setting their appointments. The vaccination drive has become more aggressive over the last weeks, so that the goal of the government is to ensure that as many people as possible are vaccinated before the start of the Olympic Games. And our Filipino community has participated as well in this vaccination drive.
With the Olympics, I heard, sir, that there's no cheering, just clapping. Ano po?
Part of the very strict protocols po nila is no cheering. Do not do anything that will attract a crowd. And yes, as you said, clapping is the preferred mode of cheering on your national team. Of course, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government has also canceled the public viewings of. They were planning, if this were normal times, they were planning to have big screens in key places in the city. They have canceled that, and instead used those venues as vaccination venues.
Oh, I see. And also, interviews are limited to 90 seconds. Is that right? Then the athletes are going to put on their own medals.
Yes. I heard in the news people are calling it the do-it-yourself medal ceremonies. Of course, understandable. We don't we want to minimize the physical interaction between the athletes and other people. So the protocol is someone will bring the medal on a tray, go to the athlete, offer the tray. The athlete himself will get the medal and put it around his neck. So this is the first time that this has happened. In that sense, this is going to be a historic Olympic Games. With the prayers of our kababayans in the Philippines and all over the world, we hope that our national team, of course, will be safe and sound all throughout their stay in Tokyo. And of course, hopefully will win medals during this Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games.
But let's go back to our Filipino community, sir. Have you done any repatriation lately?
Lately po, because of the resumption of flights,
yes,
we have not made any repatriation efforts in the last couple of months. There have been one or two individual cases needing assistance for the purchase of airline tickets, etc., but nothing in the scale of what we did last year with Diamond Princess in February, and I believe 3 or 4 repatriation charter flights all throughout 2020. Nothing in that scale, usually just individual cases.
Mhm. What about our consular services? I remember last year, or yeah, December, the embassy said it will increase its capacity for processing passports once the coronavirus situation improves. But with the present situation and emergency imposed in the whole of Tokyo, I wonder how you're delivering consular services in the time of the pandemic.
Yes, we have made sure that COVID prevention protocols are in place before we reopened to the public last year. And we have stayed open to the public since June 1st all the way up to today. And when the situation stabilizes, we increase the number of appointment slots available for all services. We have also implemented services by mail for those consular documents that need not be processed in person, so that we minimize the number of people in the consular area. And we have also employed the new technologies. We have a paging system now at the consular section. We have an automated appointment system. So, of course, we beg the indulgence of our Filipino community in Japan. We have yet to be able to come close to what we had before, prior to the pandemic, where you have 300-400 people congregating in the consular section. We cannot do that. I hope our kababayans understand that we also want to protect your safety as well as the safety of our staff in the consular section. But we have continuously increased our capacity to render consular service. And as soon as possible, we are also planning to mount consular outreach missions to the more far-flung areas from Tokyo, so that we can provide consular service to our kababayans there.
What about hospitalization, sir? How is the hospital doing right now in Tokyo?
The last update from the Tokyo Metropolitan Government last week,
Yes.
the situation is still very serious in terms of the availability of hospital beds and medical treatment for COVID-19 patients. And that's one of the reasons why they declared this new round of state of emergency restrictions. And hopefully in the in the coming days, we will see a decline in the cases, so that our medical professionals here and the healthcare system will also further stabilize.
Okay, so with the what about our Filipino community? How are they helping each other over there in Japan?
Of course, our kababayans are. We are known for the Bayanihan spirit, and we have heard a lot of encouraging stories about our community helping each other. Of course, we have also had tremendous support from the government of Japan. In fact, just last year, a private sector organization in Japan donated money for our students who are in need of financial assistance. Of course, we have also received several stories of private organizations, private individuals making such efforts to assist Filipinos in Japan. So these are very much appreciated. And these are just the wonderful stories of how we as humans assist each other during difficult times.
Mm-hmm. And your message, sir, finally to our viewers.
Again, first, thank you to Net25, Ms. Alma, for giving the embassy this platform. And of course, please be assured that we will continue to partner with you even after all of these pandemic-related restrictions are lifted. And to the Filipino community, we just want to assure you of the embassy's continued service. Our frontline services remain active and available to the Filipino community. Of course, we will be scaling up our services as soon as the situation stabilizes. So please bear with us. And also, we also want to, of course, request everyone's prayers for our Olympic team who are now in Tokyo to compete in events starting this week. We are praying and hoping that our Olympians will, of course, bring home medals, gold, that elusive gold medal, hopefully. But of course, with that being said, we are already proud of our Olympians for making it, for qualifying in the Tokyo Games, and the embassy is always here to provide whatever assistance they may require. So, and last but not least, since the COVID situation is, of course, still uncertain here in Japan, we would like to request our Filipino community to keep safe, to always follow the COVID prevention protocols implemented by your respective prefectures, including no unnecessary outings, and so that we will all remain safe and healthy.
Mhm. Thank you for the constant updates on the situation there in Japan and the Olympics. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Mabuhay kayo.
Thank you po. Mabuhay din po kayo.
Ilang taon na tayo sa mundo, nakasulat na ba to sa libro? Ano mang dulo, ikaw at ako.
Hi guys! Ako po si CJ Novato at abangan niyo po ako bilang guest performer sa Letters and Music 1 to 2 p.m. Syempre, dito lang sa Net25. See you po!
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. From Japan, let's go to Malaysia, where there's a rising trend among younger people, and it's getting serious as coronavirus disease infections, according to Health Ministry figures. Here's Ruby Tunawin joining us live. Hello, Ruby.
Hello, December. Good afternoon. Yes, there is a rising trend among younger people being admitted with serious cases of COVID-19 infections, though the number of admissions for elderly people with the same cases has declined. Malaysia's Health Director General, Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, said data from Hospital Sungai Buloh showed an obvious drop in the admission of serious infections among the elderly. He also said there were fewer serious infections being recorded among health workers, indicating the effectiveness of the vaccines. However, this is not the case among the younger people. A chart by the Ministry's Crisis Preparedness and Response Center showed a rise in the number of serious infections in category 4 and 5 among those aged 20 to 39, while those aged 50 to 59 formed the bulk of those who suffered serious infections. Category 4 is for serious cases with patients requiring additional oxygen, while Category 5 comprises critical cases with patients requiring the use of ventilators. The center said in its comment on Twitter, the rise among younger people was related to the lower rate of vaccination among this age group. The downward trend among the elderly, according to Noor Hisham, was in line with the start of the second phase of the vaccination program in April, which began to show results from June onwards. He also said all elderly people in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur without vaccination dates would be able to get walk-in jabs at vaccination centers. In his statement, he also said, vaccine saves lives and we can learn to live side by side with COVID-19. Meanwhile, media reports have said the Operation Surge Capacity Vaccination Program in the Klang Valley area in the state of Selangor will be expanded to northern Negri Sembilan, southern Perak, and western Pahang. There were a total of 10,972 new COVID-19 cases reported in the last 24 hours, pushing the cumulative figure for positive cases in Malaysia to 927,533. The state of Selangor remains top on the list with 4,404 new cases. Back to you, December.
Thank you, Ruby, for that update, and please stay safe in Malaysia.
Yes, reporting live from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, this is Ruby Tinawin. We live in interesting times.
Now let's go to Vietnam. Hanoi City will be in lockdown due to its surge of coronavirus cases. And beginning October, Phu Quoc Island will welcome international visitors with vaccine passports beginning October. Here's Ralph Wandolph Empai joining us live from Vietnam. Hello, Ralph.
Good afternoon, December, and to everyone who are watching us today. In the capital city of Vietnam, Hanoi, authorities on Sunday announced more stringent social distancing measures, which already took effect yesterday to curb a spike in community cases. In the latest dispatch signed by Hanoi People's Chairman Chu Ngọc Anh, citing huge risk of community transmission and following the lockdown order imposed on the entire southern region to deal with severe coronavirus outbreaks, people in the city are asked to stay at home and only go outside in necessary cases like business trips, working at essential businesses, buy food and medicines, or emergencies such as medical issues, fire incidents, or natural disasters. Malls, supermarkets, traditional markets, wholesale markets in the city are to ensure adequate supply of daily necessities for the local population. Arrange stalls and reception procedures to reduce the number of customers in the same place at the same time. Minimize close contacts and encourage online shopping and delivery. Travel from Hanoi to other cities and provinces and vice versa would be limited. Now, in related news, December, Vietnam put its entire southern region in a 2-week lockdown, which has started on Sunday, as confirmed COVID-19 cases exceeded 3,000 for the third day in a row. The lockdown order includes the Mekong Delta and Ho Chi Minh City metropolis, the country's financial and economic hub with more than 35 million people, nearly a third of Vietnam's population. Officials say they have to act as the number of infections reached nearly 50,000 since the outbreak re-emerged at the end of April after several months of no cases being reported. Ho Chi Minh City, the epicenter of the surge, had already announced a full lockdown a week ago after dozens of cases were reported in late May. The city now accounts for most of the cases in the country with more than 2,000 daily. According to Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh, the situation is getting serious with a high rate of transmission, especially with the dangerous Delta variant. The health and safety of the people is a top priority. The government order bans all gatherings of more than 2 people in public places except for government offices, hospitals, and a handful of essential businesses. People are requested to only leave home to buy necessities such as food, medicine, or for vital matters. Deputy Prime Minister Vu Duc Dam, the head of the country's Committee for COVID-19 Pandemic Prevention, said that the lockdown order must be applied strictly since the latest wave has spread to 57 of the country's 63 municipalities and provinces, while the vaccine supply is still limited. According to the Minister of Health, Vietnam has received only about 6 million of the 124 million doses of vaccine it had secured through the UN-backed COVAX facility and in direct orders with vaccine manufacturers. More than 4 million people have received at least 1 dose, and Vietnam aims to inoculate at least 70% of the population by the end of the year. Now, some good news for travelers or for those who want to enter Vietnam. Phuoc Island in Kanzang Province expects to welcome international visitors with vaccine passports beginning in October. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has proposed opening Phuoc Island to international visitors with vaccine passports after receiving consultations from the Ministries of Health, Public Security, Foreign Affairs, National Defense, Transport, and Information and Communication. During the first phase of the pilot program, which will last 3 months, Phuoc will welcome 2,000 to 3,000 visitors per month via charter flights in a limited number of locations. The second phase, also lasting for 3 months, will host 5,000 to 10,000 visitors per month. Passengers will be picked up via commercial flights and experience Phuoc on a larger scale. The purpose of this program is to gradually restore the international tourism market and the tourism industry while promoting Vietnam as a safe and attractive destination with effective pandemic prevention and control measures. International visitors who want to visit Phuoc must have 2 doses of a COVID-19 vaccine recognized by Vietnamese authorities. The second dose must be injected at least 14 days and not more than 12 months from the entry time. Visitors with a certificate showing COVID-19 recovery and who have been discharged for not more than 12 months are also allowed to enter Phuoc. All tourists before entering Vietnam must be tested negative for COVID-19 via the PCR method. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism and Kanzang Province People's Committee will select appropriate service providers to host foreign visitors. Vietnam is expected to welcome visitors from markets with high tourism potential and epidemic safety across regions such as Northeast Asia, Europe, the US, and the Middle East. And that's the latest here in Vietnam. Back to you, December.
Thank you so much, Rob, for giving us all the updates in Vietnam, and do stay safe.
Likewise, December, reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam, I am Ralph Randolph Empire Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Now let's go to Cambodia, where the country has hit a milestone in administering 6 million doses of vaccines nationwide. Here's Crystal Ann Ballesteros for the report. Good afternoon, Crystal.
Good afternoon, December, and to all our online viewers. Yeah, you are right. Cambodia has achieved another milestone in its efforts to inoculate the people against COVID-19 with its 6 million person vaccinated yesterday. As of the night of July 19, the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of National Defense have vaccinated a total of 6,061,305 people throughout the country out of the targeted vaccination of 10.2 million, or 60.61% of the initial target of 10 million. According to figures from the National Ad Hoc Commission for COVID-19 Vaccination, close to 4.2 million have already got their second dose of COVID-19 vaccines. The 5th million vaccine to be administered in Cambodia was given to a 70-year-old farmer just a week ago. And since then, another 1 million people have been vaccinated across the country. Cambodia has set to vaccinate around 10 million people, or 62% of the total population against COVID-19, and the target is expected to achieve by November this year. Last Friday, Prime Minister Hun Sen reaffirmed the plan to vaccinate the children aged from 12 to 17 years old, who account for around 2 million. The vaccination of younger citizens can be done after the end or at the same time as that of the 18 years and older. Currently in progress, the Prime Minister stressed, adding that the country does need 4 million more doses of COVID-19 vaccines. Cambodia has so far got in total over 16 million doses of vaccines, 5.2 million doses of Sinopharm, 10.5 million doses of Sinovac, and 324,000 doses of AstraZeneca. And that's a short update here in Cambodia, December. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Crystal Ann, for that update, and please stay safe in Cambodia.
Likewise, December, reporting live here in Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and we'll live in interesting times.
And the news continues in ASEAN in Focus after this short break.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights. Sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Impormasyong mahalaga sa taong bayan. Patas na pagbabalita. Papakinggan ang magkabilang panig. Lilinawin ang mga issue at kaagad na ihahatid ng objektibo. Mata ng Agila. Tumadagit ng pinakasariwang pangyayari, hindi lamang sa loob ng bansa, kundi sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig. Mula sa Eagle News teams at sa tulong ng makabagong teknolohiya, tiyak na makakalap kaagad ang katotohanan. Para sa mas matalas, malinaw at malalimang pagbabalita. Ito ang mas pinatalas na Mata ng Agila. Inihahatid ng veteranong broadcast journalist na si Eli Saludar. Kasama si Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental 2019, Emma Tiglao. At pinangungunahan ng batikang mamamahayag ng bansa, Vic De Leon Lima. Mata ng Agila. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng gabi. Dito sa Net25.
Welcome back. The southwest monsoon enhanced by severe tropical storm or STS Fabian and the weather disturbance outside the Philippine Area of Responsibility with international name Sempaka will continue to dampen parts of Luzon today. In its 5 a.m. Tropical Cyclone Bulletin, PAGASA, or the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, said that monsoon rains will pour over Ilocos Region, Cordillera Administrative Region, Cagayan Valley, Zambales, Bataan, Occidental Mindoro, and Palawan. Flash floods or landslides are possible due to scattered, widespread, moderate to at times heavy rains. The enhanced southwest monsoon will cause rough to very rough seas over the seaboards of Batanes and the Babuyan Islands and the western seaboard of Palawan, including Kalayaan and Calamian Islands, and Occidental Mindoro, including Lubang Islands. Sea travel is risky for small sea crafts, while mariners without the proper experience should immediately seek safe harbor.
Philippine health officials are warning of possible surge in coronavirus infections as the several locally transmitted cases of the highly contagious Delta variant were recorded and more than 3 million people went into lockdown. Health Undersecretary and Concurrent Treatment SAR Leopoldo Vega said he has started coordinating with groups and drawing up contingency plans for a surge. Let's listen in.
Tinitingnan po namin una ay talagang palaki ng kapasidad ng mga hospitals, lalong-lalong na sa mga level 3 hospitals na magkaroon sila ng sapat na intensive care units at saka resources kagaya ng mga ventilators, high flow oxygen, and definitely yung mga medicines na pangangailangan talaga ng COVID-19. Severe and critical patients. Ito po ay binigyan namin ng mga private at saka government hospitals ng isang contingency plan kung aakyat ang bilang ng number of cases natin ng COVID-19. So in totality ho, ang pinapalakas namin ang staffing also ng aming staffing ng hospitals, makasiguro kami ng mga deployment coming from other agencies, at pangalawa, yung mga emergency hiring po namin sa Department of Health. At saka naghahanap na rin kami ng mga resources kagaya ng mga high flow oxygen machines na pwedeng maibigay namin sa mga areas na may high risk.
We just want to emphasize that this variant, the Delta variant, is highly transmissible at napakita na po ito sa mga experiences across the globe. Base po sa ebidensya, sinasabi it's 43 to 90% transmissible than the UK variant. Patatandaan po natin ang UK variant was said to be highly transmissible and it can infect about 3 to 5 persons. Pero ang Delta variant po can infect up to 8 persons in just one city, Mex. So meaning it's really highly transmissible, mabilis pong makapanghawa kapag may Delta variant, kaya kailangan po natin lahat mag-ingat. Pero kailangan lang po matandaan ng ating mga kababayan na kung ano man po ang ginagawa nating safety protocols before, let us just try to implement that. Let us assume na kung sakali may transmission na ganyan, ay mapoprotektahan po tayo kung sakaling tayo ay susunod sa protocols and get yourselves vaccinated.
With hospitals in Huntaran, Myanmar empty of pro-democracy medical staff and coronavirus cases surging nationwide, volunteers are going house to house to collect the fast rising number of victims dying in their homes. Take a look.
I don't know. I don't know what Ludo Kajana. Ludo Dilu Pitao, General Mandulajin. I don't know Kajana, Lunario General, Ramado Yado General Lunai Pude, Lunao, Sayon would say Gani, Luna Ponta Line, Bession Pio. Ahua Alum Hodo, General Ponta Line, Pay with Dominic Robert, General Mini Upon and Powder. No, I don't know. You know, Molina, I don't know, Sabi. The Nathan, you know, Nano leader to the day.
Is it chow yet? Nhau to go. Canali kind of. Eh, hobby. Oh, I put an and Labby, and all canal sound me, no? Some Pong Kayama, the Jabba. Jalai de, the dinner, Alama, the hang out Kuma Messico, the din so eBay, so that the go. Kaijai, look homely. Yan, the page in La or one on Genema Kaza, no Ajido, or Jena, no Ajido, Mapagena, Malochano Mahoba.
Workers take bodies of people who died of COVID-19 while being self-quarantined at home in the Indonesian cities of Bandung and Garut, both in West Java province. Indonesia has in recent days overtaken India and Brazil as the global COVID-19 hotspot. Its daily death toll hitting a record of 1,338 on Monday. Let's listen in.
Lagi diisolasi di rumah sakit kebetulan. Kakaknya ya, adiknya meninggal ya. Kakaknya lagi dirawat.
Keseringan yang kalian pikirkan gitu kan. Kita tuh di sini menanggung resiko yang berat. Bahkan bukan untuk diri kita pribadi, bahkan bisa terjangkit oleh keluarga kita kan ya. Dan yang lain-lainnya. Jadi saya tolong janganlah sepelekan pekerjaan kita ini.
COVID-19 infections and deaths are hammering hospitals in Indonesia, which is overtaking India as Asia's coronavirus epicenter. Desperate patients lining up at hospitals for days before getting proper treatment, as the government has advised infected people with mild symptoms to self-quarantine. Many, however, ended up dying at homes. Workers from local community health centers and volunteers have taken the job to go house to house to collect bodies, while grave diggers at public cemeteries are struggling to cope up with the rising number of deaths. The Southeast Asian country of nearly 270 million has just reported new record in number of deaths with over 1,324 hours. Recent daily new cases were reported at over 50,000.
In other news, the United States and Vietnam said they had reached an agreement to resolve a dispute over the value of Hanoi's dong currency, which Washington had briefly accused it of manipulating. Washington in April withdrew its accusation, but Vietnam remains on the U.S. Treasury's monitoring list for scrutiny of its currency policies. The new agreement will resolve the dispute between the two countries, according to the joint statement. The statement said, and I quote, Treasury and the State Bank of Vietnam have had constructive discussions in recent months through the enhanced engagement process and reached agreement to address Treasury's concerns about Vietnam's currency practices, unquote. Vietnam's currency practices are singled out in a twice-yearly analysis the U.S. Congress requires, detailing countries which might be actively trying to keep their currencies weaker against the U.S. dollar. And this is to make their exports cheaper while making American goods more expensive. The findings in the report are largely symbolic and do not entail sanctions. Under former President Trump, Vietnam, along with China and Switzerland, were given the more serious designation of currency manipulators. Trump later withdrew the accusation against Beijing, while President Joe Biden removed the label from Vietnam and Switzerland. All three countries remained on the monitoring list.
Five sisters Aria and Moria Jutanugarn shot their second 11 under par of 59 in best ball play to capture the LPGA Great Lakes Bay Invitational, taking a three-stroke victory on Saturday over defending champion Sydney Clinton and Jasmine Suwanapura. Aria 25 and Maria 26 finished at 24 under 256 at Windy Midland Country Club golf course in Michigan. In the first round, they shot a 67 in alternate shot format, then fired a 59 on Thursday in best ball and carded a 71 in alternate shot Friday to enter the final round, 2 shots behind American Clanton and Thailand's Suwanapura, who closed Saturday with a 64. Clanton and Suwanapura won the inaugural event in 2019 by whooping by 6 strokes. The tournament was canceled last year because of the global coronavirus pandemic. South Korean Kim A. Lim and American Yelmi No 64 years old, and Thailand's Pajari Anarukarn and India's Aditi Ashok, 66, tied for third at 261. Reigning U.S. Women's Open champ Yuka Sasso of the Philippines and Australian Minji Lee were fifth on 262 after a closing 62.
And as always, thank you very much, December, for keeping me company today on ASEAN in Focus.
My pleasure, Ms. Alma. And may I take this opportunity? We have a viewer who always watches ASEAN in Focus. He is celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to Sean Luis Aguilar. And that's the latest news in the dynamic ASEAN region. I'm December Paras of EBC Indonesia Bureau. We live in interesting times.
Happy birthday to you, Sean. Is it Sean?
Sean.
Okay, I hope you have a happy and very good and safe birthday today. And with that, we thank you for joining us today here on ASEAN in Focus. We'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.
Mapupuno ng saya, impormasyon at inspirasyon ang hapon mo sa Afternoon Power. Handog sa inyo ng Net25. Sasabay sa inyong tanghalian ang inyong Happy Time Barkada at 12 noon.